In a few minutes, I'm going to demonstrate an Elkavox 77 accordion that I'm going to be listing for sale on the internet. But first, I thought it'd be helpful to show the components and how they are connected. First, we have the Elkavox tone generator, which also has a volume pedal for the flutes, and then over near the volume, just above the volume pedal for the flutes, is an on-off button and a cord that goes to the power supply. Basically, it's plugged into an extension cord to a wall unit. Over on the other side of the tone generator, we have a cord that connects to the into the Elkavox accordion, just with a little plug right there. And then from what's called the general output of the Elkavox tone generator, we have what's basically like a guitar cable, a 1/4 inch with a 1/4 inch jack that runs to an amplifier. And then also to connect to the amplifier, we have internal mics that I'll explain the function of that hook in to the accordion. So those are basically the connections. Power to a wall outlet or an extension cord or power supply unit, and a cable from the tone generator to the accordion, and a cable from the tone generator to the amplifier. And if you so desire to amplify acoustically the acoustic connections of the accordion, you can run another jack from the microphones there to an amplifier. In a moment, I'll demonstrate how all this works in more detail. Thank you. This is the Elkavox 77 accordion that I mentioned, and very first, right off, you can see that it has some appearance issues. The prior owner decided that he would paint some of these black, well, paint maybe all of these black keys and paint some other places that were black. He got black on the white notes. He decided he would also paint the white keys, and did a very sloppy job of that. And as you can see, the keys are all messed up. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you might want to buy this accordion if you have the capability of replacing the key tops on the white keys. It means you might want to buy it if you are only playing for your own enjoyment and you don't really care what it looks like. It might mean you might want to buy it if you wanted to produce some sounds in a studio. All in all, although the accordion looks bad, I think you'll see in a few moments it sounds pretty well. The other thing that the prior owner did was to, for some reason, replace and tape over all of these switches, and we'll get to what these switches are in a minute. Some of them they labeled properly with some kind of tape over some label or an adhesive label. And some of them are not labeled properly. They just say Elkavox. But I will with this accordion will go a picture of what they should say, so that anybody who wanted to work with this could create the proper designations and can learn what they are. Also, I'll be sending with this accordion, in addition to some other pictures, a book about the little booklet about the Iorio G series, which basically the Elkavox and the Iorio G series are identical except for some of the trim. They have the same switches, they have the same insides, they are the same. But there's a book about the G series accordion that will go with it. basically just a little advertising piece. Then there's also a full set of schematics for the accordion that will go with it. These schematics are actually for the tone generator. That'll be explained in more detail in the listing. But what I really want to do with this video is to demonstrate how the accordion sounds. And first off, I'm going to show you that it's 41 keys on the treble side and 120 basses on the bass side. Speaking of the bass side, I almost forgot to mention the baseboard under these buttons originally was white. They decided, whoever decided to paint it black, but there's some white spaces showing, so that's another one of the appearance issues. But that aside, everything plays well. I'll demonstrate that all of the notes play on the treble side right now, and I'll do it on pushing and pulling the bellows, opening and closing. So those all work fine, and on the other side, the basses work fine. And the chords. You have the major, the minor, the seventh, and the diminished, because you have 120 bass. So they all work fine. Basically, that's the acoustic capabilities of the accordion. It is what's called a low middle accordion. It has 3 sets of reeds on the treble side and 4 sets of reeds on the bass side. And to give you an idea of the 3 sets of reeds, the low reed is the bassoon reed. Sounds like that. You can combine the middle reed is called the clarinet reed. Sounds like that. You can combine the bass and a middle reed for what's called a bandone, and or you can do 2 middles for a musette reed, a musette sound, and a master. You can do all 4. So those are basically the sounds, and they're all on the bass side. You can have basically 3 different combinations of basses and chord combinations. I usually just use the master myself. In case you're wondering, the 4th switch closes it off, and we'll get to when you might want to do that when you're playing the electronics, the organ sounds of the accordion. There's also a closed switch here on the treble side. You can't play anything treble when you close that switch unless you're hooked up. Now, I had this hooked up earlier, and I showed you hooking up the accordion to the tone generator. Well, you can amplify the sound of this accordion. It has mics, and you can run a cord directly to an amplifier and amplify the sound of the accordion without even hooking up the tone generator. You can just hooking it to an amplifier. One other thing I do want to make very clear, and I will in the listing as well, the amplifier is not included with the accordion that I'm selling. I'm keeping the amplifier because I have other instruments that I use the amplifier with. Now I can turn on the amplifier, and I can turn it up a little bit. Hopefully. The amplifier, okay, so that is the basically the function of the accordion acoustically, and with the acoustic sound of the accordion amplified. Now I'm going to hook it up to the tone generator with the cord that I showed you earlier in the beginning of this video, and I'm going to turn on the tone generator. And I'm going to try to demonstrate some of the sounds that this will make. Now, these buttons, there's one that says tabs and one that says cancel if you had the complete listing. So I'm going to first of all use the tabs and show you that if let me turn this up here. I'll just close this so for the moment you'll hear just the organ sounds. This is what's called flute 16, flute 8, higher pitch flute, flute 4. Oh, I didn't get it turned on. There we go. And 2 3/8. Now you can combine these sounds. For example, I can start out, and I'm going to bring my left hand over to do this so that you can. So those are the flute sounds that can be made. There's some percussion sounds that I've never really learned. You can study them in the little book that I'll put with you. You can do trial and error. But in addition to that, there's a violin cello sound, and there's a string sound, but this doesn't work quite right. If I put it down like that, there's no sound at all, but if I hold it, so someone who can work on this and figure out how to make that so it'll operate like the other switches can make the string sound work. Otherwise, there are plenty of sounds even without that one. There's piccolo sound, and there is what do they call that one? Let's see. They call that a it's a chord, Glock chord sound. That one's actually labeled so you can read it on it. But in addition to those, you have for the chords over here for your left hand, you can play a brush sound with those chords. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. You can play this sound. this one, and you can combine those. Well, let me start out. And you can do a sustain. The basses, there's one here that doesn't seem to work, and it's basically a guitar bass sound. I don't know, maybe cleaning of the contacts would make it work, maybe not, I don't know. But there's a piano bass, and you can once again put the chords back in with that. Oh, I got a sustain there, okay. The volume of the chords, basses and chords, can be adjusted here. You're not really hearing anything except some of the acoustics. But if I move these down, now you're not hearing the chords hardly at all. Now they're louder. The bass. So you can adjust those volumes however you like. And if we were running this microphone cord out to the tone generator instead of directly to the amplifier, you can adjust the volume of the mics on this one. These control sustains on the strings and the flutes, I think. They're supposed to be labeled here, but it got painted over. Again, I'll provide you the information so that you can know what those are, and you might find your own way to relabel them. Now, in addition to all the combinations that you can make by playing various sounds at one time, there are certain what are called presets. I'm going to go back to these chord sounds here in a minute. There are certain presets that you can do for the treble side that automatically combine certain things for you in tones that the Iorio and Elkavox people thought would be the most pleasant. That's the first preset. The second preset and the third preset, and a fourth preset, which I have. The last preset, for whatever reason, does not work. Again, whether that can easily be made to work or not, I don't know, but it makes plenty of sounds even without it. So those are some of the capabilities. Now, having said all of that, what I like to do is to combine the acoustics and the organ sounds, and so if you etc. So there are just a whole lot of capabilities between the different things that you can set, and I was doing that with a master. You could do it with a musette, or any of these acoustic switches that will set your bass how you want it. basically, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what this accordion is. It has a lot of capabilities, and for someone who either doesn't care what it looks like, or is just using it in a studio, or someone who can work on the appearance issues and clean it up, new keys or whatever. It's really a fine instrument. It has good reeds, and the bellows are tight. They only will open very, very slowly if you allow them to open, so they hold air very well. I'm going to, because I need to make room and I need to downsize my accordion collection, I'm going to list it at a very low price. That the reeds alone are probably worth more than that. If somebody wanted to part it out, they could make money on it, depending on how high it gets bid up by eBay buyers. So that's it. I encourage anybody to ask questions if they're interested. Once it's listed, ask questions through the eBay process, or this will be up as a YouTube video, and you can ask questions through the YouTube site. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing some bids. Thank you.